What's going on, dudes and dudettes? So a couple of USC players and also Duke football players were named to a couple of the awards watch lists going into the season, which is pretty cool. I'll get into the USC guys first because that's what you're all here for, is the USC info. So of course, Caleb Williams, the quarterback from USC, was named to the Maxwell Award watch list. Not that surprising, I believe. I want to say that either goes to the top offensive player, because I think the Davey O'Brien is the top quarterback in college. So obviously he's going to be one of the better quarterbacks out there. So of course he has to be a finalist, or at least on the awards watch list for this one. So not that surprising. A couple of offensive linemen were named to the Outland Trophy watch list, which goes to the best offensive lineman. Of course, Justin Dedich, their senior or super senior leader, has been there for quite a bit. Finally get a chance to start at his natural position at center. Then also the transfer coming in from Washington State, Jared Kingston, who had a pretty solid year while he was at Washington State, and now he's going to hopefully bring that to be not only all Pac-12 honors, but maybe a finalist for that Outland Trophy as well. And then right before I did this video, I did see that the safety Kalen Bullock was named to the Bronco Nagurski Award watch list, which I believe goes out to the top defensive player in the country, because a defensive player for Duke was on there and he looked like a defensive lineman. So there are obviously two different positions, so that must go to the top defensive player. So either way, still nice to get some recognition for some of those players. It's not that surprising, because obviously Caleb and Kalen are looked at to be two of the first round picks from USC. So like I said, not that surprising, but definitely excited to see them on those awards watch lists. And then USC had a couple of House of Victory signings the past couple days, and of course there were two of the incoming top freshmen on the offensive line that they did get. First one was Michael Banuelos the other day, who was like going to be their center of the future. That's what it looks like. And then Alani Noah as well, is a gigantic human being. He can maybe move out to that tackle spot, but most likely will be one of the interior offensive linemen as well. But a lot of big dudes out there in the future for USC on their offensive line, especially heading into that Big Ten conference soon. Now, I wanted to give official credit to this site because they keep popping up, because when you're on Twitter, or X as it's now called, you kind of just get recommendations of certain channels and information about stuff you usually look up, and I usually go on there for the sports stuff on my teams, because sometimes you get it more of a quicker update than you would like on Bleacher Report and all that stuff. But yeah, I think they're called the College Football Blue Bloods, that channel, or that Twitter X channel, or whatever profile. And I did talk about what they said the other day, but today, or the past couple of days, they recently did a top offensive and defensive lines for this season coming up, and USC made both of them, which surprised me for one, but not the other. But USC offensive line was ranked number 3 overall in the country, which is really good. Definitely, I have high hopes for the offensive line, as you've heard the past couple of videos. But then also the defensive line was put as the number 10 overall team in the country, according to this site. So obviously they do have a lot more talent, especially with Bear Alexander, Anthony Lucas, those type of transfers, Jack Sullivan. But got to put it together. So you have the talent, so put it together, and you should be able to get a couple more of those victories instead of losses that you had last year for USC. So a quick update on the 2024 recruiting class. It looks like USC has been moving down a bit, a couple of spots. I think they are now officially the number 10 overall team, which kind of sucks because they moved at least 4 to 5 spots since the beginning of a couple months ago. But at least there's only been like one, maybe 2 decommitments from that class. You still have a chance to add a lot more talented players, in my opinion. So I'm not really worried about it too much, and you're still in the top 10 as of right now. So either way, it's still looking good for the USC Trojans in next year's recruiting class. But they did get a bit of a jump and some high interest from a player who decommitted from a different school in the 2025 class, who is a safety who is committed to Ohio State, Jonte Gilbert. And I think we talked about him a few weeks or months ago back that he did have high interest on USC. He even had said that USC was in the leading spot as of right now, even though he was already committed, or said he was committed to Ohio State, which was kind of weird. But of course, now he has decommitted officially the other day. Has not committed or said he's going to USC, but apparently the interest is still very high. So I will not be surprised if that ends up happening. Maybe I'm hoping he takes his time and waits a little bit, because he's still a cycle later, so it's not going to come in next year, but the following year also. So might as well just wait. Take your time with that, buddy, and not commit to USC, then decommit, and then all of a sudden you're in the same position again. So we'll just have to wait and see. But USC has offered quite a few of the 2024 linebackers that they did not officially do before, because they were a bit more interested in hoping to get some of the more talented guys out there. But these guys are still pretty good, in my opinion, whether they're still 4 stars or highly quality 3 stars that are committed or still being pursued by other top schools out there, even if they're not really highly ranked. So one of the first guys in 2024 was a linebacker in Michael Boganowski that they recently offered. Another 2024 linebacker, Devin Smith, out of the state of Georgia. Then a 2024 linebacker, Wyatt Simmons, from the state of Arkansas. So a lot of these guys, they look like they were pretty interested in, and hopefully they get some more interest from the players as well, because it looked like at least they were still excited that USC offered them even this late in the process. So hopefully to get 1 or 2 of these guys, you never know. And then at one of the top junior college cornerbacks, Sione Laulea, I believe I'm saying that correct. I hope I'm saying that correct. But yes, he recently did put USC in his new top 5. I don't know how many times he's had a top 5, and I know he did visit that big weekend in June. Still had not heard a commitment from him, whether he was going to USC or not, but now it's finally at least some news that USC does get, and they could end up signing him. We don't know yet, but just have to wait and see, like always, with this recruiting class for next year. So going on to a bit of Duke basketball and Duke football news. So Duke right now, basketball-wise, has the number 1 recruit in next year's class, Cooper Flagg, on campus unofficially. So I'm pretty sure he will be visiting back on an official visit at some point in the near future. But it's always nice to be able to get some of the top players into your program unofficially, and then hoping you get that official visit so you can put out all the bells and whistles, as they say, to try to get them to commit to your school after that weekend. But yeah, still try to get after this guy. He definitely looks pretty talented and was one of the better players in the more recent circuit of the off season, that, you know, those tournaments. He was one of the better players out there. So definitely looking forward to having him on the roster next year, hopefully. And then Riley Leonard, one of the top quarterbacks, actually most recently top quarterbacks. Even I think he's a little bit better than Daniel Jones, who was recently at Duke. But yes, Riley Leonard was also named to the Maxwell Awards watch list, which is pretty cool. Excuse me. I always thought for some reason last year he was a freshman, but I don't know if the announcers screwed me up and kept saying that or whatever. But yeah, he is going to be a junior, so if he does end up doing really good and is supposedly as talented as some of the scouts are saying, he might end up leaving this year as well, and would probably make Duke football hard to watch again. But maybe not, just because Caleb and Drake May from North Carolina are going to be there, and they're most likely the top 2 picks. But if he waits another year, he might be one of the top 2 to 3 picks as well if he waits another season in college. So we'll see. But yeah, a lot of hype for this guy going into this season coming up. And a couple of the other players were named to the best offensive line and defensive players awards watch list. So Dwayne Carter was named to the Bronco Nagurski, the top defensive player, and Graham Barton was named to the Outland Trophy Award watch list as well. So even Duke is still getting some recognition out there, which is nice to see. So congrats to those guys, and yes, I am still looking forward to their football season coming up. And then Sony Michel, who won the Super Bowl with the Patriots and with the Rams as well. He did play a little bit for the Chargers. They signed him they weren't able to bring him back, but I guess he just didn't have that much in the tank because he is officially retiring, which is pretty crazy because he is only 28 years old, but I think he definitely hit his peak in his last year or two in college in those first couple years. And he was always part of a committee. He was never like the number one running back in the NFL, so it's not like there's a lot of tread on those tires, as they say. I think that's how the saying goes. But yeah, either way, looks like he's retiring, maybe for a little bit. Maybe if a team is that desperate later in the year, wants to give him a quick 1-year deal, try to push for a championship or whatever, he might do it. But yeah, congrats to him, because he's an ex-Charger is why I'm talking about him. So congrats on your retirement, buddy. So the other day, apparently, news came out that Adam Driver, who was pretty much the top guy to land the role of Reed Richards, who is the leader of the Fantastic Four, apparently has decided to take his name out of the running or not pursue the role anymore after he was able to read a run through of the first script, and I guess he just said he couldn't really connect with the character on the page. But apparently Marvel did say that once they rewrite the script officially, once they're able to, because they are going through a strike right now, that updated script will be sent back to him, and he will be still on the top of their list apparently as one of the first people to read it to see if he still wants the role or not. So I guess it's not 100% off the table that he is not going to be the character, but I don't know. We'll see. Could be interesting who ends up not being him, but we'll see. And then yes, sadly we have to talk about us losing one of the more funnier characters / actors we've seen in a while. I think there's some people that are always known more for a certain character than they are even their real name. I think people know Paul Rubens is probably more known as Pee-wee. People will probably say Pee-wee more automatically before they say Paul Rubens. I'm pretty sure most people don't even know that's his name. But yeah, obviously he was iconic for the role of Pee-wee, and sadly he did pass away yesterday due to he wasn't out there promoting that he had cancer or whatever. But yeah, sadly he lost his bout to it, and yeah, it does suck because he was only 70. But yeah, he did leave us with a lot of great stuff. Like, obviously remember him from Mystery Men as well. That was another great role, comedic. I mean, his superpower is, basically fart targeting. So of course it was hilarious to me at the time in the early 2000s. And then yes, he did do another movie I remember as a kid called Dunstan Checks In. It's about like some ape or chimpanzee that's stuck in a hotel or something, and then it causes havoc, and he's basically sent there to hunt down. But it's more of like a family comedy, so it's not like a serious movie. And I thought he played a pretty funny role in there as well. And of course I remember him very smallly on I think it was only one episode where he played a role as one of the brothers. Yeah, he was a brother to one of the characters on Everybody Loves Raymond, and he ran like a comic book store or whatever, and Raymond had to go get some type of Pokemon style card that he was only selling there, and he was a brother to the girlfriend of Raymond's brother, whatever, something like that. And yeah, sadly he only got to be in one episode, and they changed it out to another guy, because I think at that time that was when he was going through his little bit of controversy, or his name out there because of what he did at some adult movie theater. But I don't know, if you're not doing that at that type of establishment, then I don't know what you're supposed to be doing there anyways. Plus his name was only out there because of who he is, and his name is more popular than the people that were probably in there as well. That's why it made news. But it's not like he hurt anybody or did anything bad. It was just, you got caught doing something dumb out in public, whatever, semi in public. But either way, I still don't look down on him because of that. And even like he recently did stuff for like Netflix with Pee-wee as well, Pee-wee Herman, and I never really saw that, but I guess it's now time to go back and watch that as well. And even some stuff that I never seen him do as well, other movies. So definitely looking forward to checking out some of his filmography in the near future as well. So yeah, we lost a good one, but yes, definitely in a better place. So yeah, thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.